So, good morning to all of you. First, I would like to thank you for the invitation which I sent to the chairperson of the subcommittee for equality of the Portuguese Parliament, Elza Pais, who I'm replacing due to a conflict of schedule, and I hope everyone has a productive day today. I apologize in advance and I ask you for your understanding regarding my lack of fluency in the English language. Believe me, my English is not very good, but I hope Rita could help me if I need, and I hope to provide you with information of what has been accomplished and what is currently being done in Portugal with regard to equality. Our objective is to mobilize and align political, business and academic interests in the pursuit of gender equality. The path to equality policies in Portugal started during the dictatorship period of the Estado Novo, or the Second Republic, and on 7th September 1973, when the Committee for Social Policy Relating to Women was established. In 1974, the autocratic regime was overthrown and substituted with a democratic regime. The revolution of the 25th April granted women fundamental rights such as, for the first time, women had access to judiciary, diplomatic services, and certain positions in local administration, which they had previously been prohibited from holding. All restrictions on their right to vote were abolished, and for the first time in its history, the country had a female minister, Maria de Lourdes Pintasilgo, who served as the Minister of Social Affairs and who later went to become the first and, until the present date, the only female Prime Minister. Also, equal opportunity is choosing a profession or type of work and having access to any position, work or professional category without being discriminated against because of gender. Also, remuneration for work is in function of its quantity, nature and quality, applying the principle that equal work should correspond to an equal salary. Also, special protection for women's work during pregnancy and after childbirth. Also, recognition for the social importance of maternity, protecting the mother in the specific requirements of her indispensable actions relative to the education of her children, as well as her professional accomplishment and participation in the civic life of the country. Finally, a woman's right to a leave of absence from work before and after childbirth without the loss of remuneration or any benefits. In November 1977, the Commission for the Female Condition was established, which later became the current CIG, Commission for Citizenship and Gender Equality. Also, in 1977, important changes to Portuguese legislation were approved, such as both spouses had the freedom to pursue any profession or activity without consent from either. Until then, women who wanted to pursue certain professions, such as nursing, had to have permission from her husband. Legal discrimination could no longer be applied to children who were born outside the marriage. Women were considered the legal heirs of their husbands. Until that point, that was not possible. And since then, equality policies in Portugal have made considerable progress, culminating in the decisive political recognition of gender equality issues through the establishment of the Ministry of Equality in 1999, during the 14th constitutional governance led by the socialist António Guterres, current Secretary General of the United Nations, as we'll know to all of us. Equality was increasingly being viewed as a fundamental state responsibility, one which is a constant state of construction and evolution, and which can never be considered to be a finished process. Consequently, equality as an application of citizenship and liberty has been a true national goal, with successive historical achievements, many times pioneering not only within the European context, but also within the international context. A good example being the discriminalization of abortion, which was approved in 2007. However, the truly decisive occurrence which currently confirms that gender equality is center stage of the political agenda in Portugal was the approval of the equality law by Portuguese Parliament in 2006. The law establishes gender quotas and that the candidate lists for Portuguese Parliament, European Parliament, as well as local government be comprehensive in such a manner that ensures a minimum representation of 33% for each gender. This law was truly responsible for the increased emphasis given to equality policies, because it unequivocally enabled more women to enter politics, which resulted in a progressively greater ability to influence legislative power relative to gender equality issues and the defense of human rights. Nevertheless, issues related to equality policies which made Portugal a pioneering country, exemplary even in this matter, go beyond the defense and promotion of human rights and encompass the promotion and defense of the rights of LGBTI community, which I can give you some examples of. The law approved in 2010, which allows marriage between people of the same sex. The law which allows adoption by same-sex couples, a law approved in 2016. The law for gender identity, currently undergoing a revision process. In short, the strong influence of issues related to gender equality during these past years has only been possible due to the regime of gender quotas introduced by the equality law in the composition of the candidate lists for the various political organs. It has currently enabled more women in Portugal to hold political positions with decision-making power, many of whom are highly sensitive to issues of gender equality and have made it their cause. However, despite all that has already been done, we are always looking toward the future, to new fights and new conquests. And an example of one of the new conquests in the government's proposed law, which currently being discussed in Portuguese Parliament, and with the final approval occurring in the near future, maybe next week, which enforces a balanced representation of gender by proposing a minimum representation of 33% of each sex in the management bodies of companies in the public sector and in listed companies, as well as public associations, and 40% in indirect administration bodies of the state and in bodies of public institutions of higher education. It is important to note that the final approval of this law results from the necessity of having a true alignment of political, academic and economic interests in order to achieve the gender equality I spoke to earlier. Recently, and after domestic violence was established as a political offence, the Portuguese Parliament approved a law whose objective is to defend and protect victims of domestic violence as well as other forms of violence within a family context, specifically involving children, in accordance with the recommendation established by the Istanbul Convention. In conclusion, I must mention two other legislative alterations currently taking place in Portugal. This legislation has not yet been approved, but it is expected to occur soon. Legislation is being prepared by the government with the objective of combating wage inequalities between men and women, who average earn 70 less than men in Portugal. 17% less than men in Portugal, I'm sorry. An increase of mandatory paternity leave from the current 50 days to 20 days after the establishment in 2009 of parental leave shared by both the father and mother. Socially valuing the role of women and recognizing their importance in society should be an objective shared by all, and men should be included in this debate on equality, because true equality is only possible if there is a mutual approximation and equivalence between men's and women's rights. Investing in equality and in a society that is more fair, just and equal, where there is no gender discrimination and the role of women is valued, should be a common objective. And to achieve this objective, all sectors of society should and must be aligned, be they political, economic or academic, in the achievement of a goal that will never be concluded and which will involve constant conquest. The fight for equality is definitively worth it, because, as Mário Soares, an important Portuguese political figure, says once, you can only be beaten if you stop fighting. Thank you for your attention.